What I want to talk about today is what you shouldn't do. And when you leave here today, you'll have a very short list of things that if you don't do them, you won't end up with me on your behalf calling Cindy saying we have another issue. You are your own first line of defense. If you look out for yourself and your neighbor, there's going to be a lot less people being able to perpetuate these crimes on our seniors. If you have ever worked with an advisor through a firm, through an independent, through the bank, anywhere, if you've ever worked with an advisor, just quickly, show of hands. How many of you, before you did it, went and checked out their license? Show of hands. It's really important that you do that. I want you all to write down something. Write down for me, if you would, NASD. The NASD is the governing body that anyone who has a financial services license must be registered with. They control our licenses. NASD.org has a service on it that is free to all consumers, and it's something called Broker Check. Everybody get that? So NASD.org, Broker Check. All you have to know is the name of the person and who they work for. When you put that in, you will get a 4 to 5 page report that tells you how long they've been licensed, in which states they've been licensed, what licenses they hold. So for example, if you go in tomorrow and you look up Lori Flynn, Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, and you're going to see that I've got, the commodities license, the 7, you're going to see a list and you're going to see which states. The part that you're really interested in though, because that's all nice, but anybody who's an investment professional will more than happily tell you what licenses they have. What they're not going to tell you is page 4, the list of complaints they've had, the list of issues or rubs with the law that they've had. Anything that happens has to be recorded through our licensing party, NASD. So even if it's a bogus complaint, it still has to be registered. And it'll tell you if there's a complaint and what happened. My second point was, if there's any question as to whether or not you're having an issue, the very first thing you need to do is get it ink to paper. If there's even remotely a concern, put it in writing, have the conversation with either the manager or whoever is in charge of that particular person or the NASD if necessary. So once you've done the broker check, and I'm assuming that you wouldn't even consider speaking to somebody cold, right? You would either have a referral or some sort of a warm introduction that says, I at least know who this person is and they've been around. Really check, get a referral from somebody at your church, your synagogue, your community, anything that you feel a little more comfort with. One of the other things, so again, we're going to make sure that we know who we're dealing with. We're going to check them out. We're going to make sure we only come to deal with these people through some sort of a referral, right? Or we're not going to deal with them. Make sure you get to any investment product something that's called a prospectus. Now here, some people say, well, how do I know what a prospectus is? It's black and white and boring, and it's on the cheapest, thinnest paper that you can see through. If you have something that's glossy and full of color and has lots of charts and bars and all kinds of flashy things, that's called marketing items. That's called sales pieces. You want that dreary piece of book that nobody reads, and you don't have to read it. You have to get it to somebody you know and trust who will go through the highlights with the person who presented it to you. So much money would be avoided from being lost if people would put their time in before they put their money. One of the things I find there's always a lot of confusion about, let me ask this question. How many investments are available to you that are FDIC insured? CDs and some money markets. I can't tell you how many people tell me annuities. Annuities are not FDIC insured. They are backed by the insurance company. But if that insurance company goes out of business, well, so does your insurance. You are lucky in the state of New Jersey, again, happy to be here retired. For a fixed annuity, there's another layer of insurance that only some states have, and New Jersey's one of them. But again, it's not FDIC insured. So if you're speaking to somebody and they're talking to you about any investment and they throw out that FDIC insurance, that warm and fuzzy FDIC blanket, and it's not a CD or a money market, immediately go, liar. because they're lying. It's that simple. So, and I try and, I get accused, you too, we get accused of being really direct with people. But I find that if I just say it, it's going to stick in your mind. If everybody kind of says it real nice and smooths it over, it doesn't have quite the hang time on the brain that if, you're just real direct. So anything that's FDIC, you're going to have a prospectus. You're not, if you establish up front, if you're an investor or a saver, there's two types of retirees for the most part, investor and a saver. Neither's right or wrong, by the way. Saver's a little tough today because of where interest rates are, but if you are a saver, I don't care where rates are. Don't try and make yourself an investor. You will be sorry. If you are not used to owning things other than CDs, just because rates are so low, do not change what you do. Do not suddenly start buying dividend-paying stocks or corporate bonds that you don't understand if they pre-refund or if they drop in value. I had somebody say to me once when they came in, they said, well, I bought this and they told me it was fixed income and my money went down. Yeah, it's fixed income, not fixed principal. Right? Does that make sense? Your income may stay the same, but you have no guarantee that that principal comes back to you. And it's not that it's a bad thing if it's what you expect and you can accept that type of risk in your retirement nest egg. The biggest way we find that people lose money is when they invest in things they didn't understand. The investment does something they didn't expect it to do because it was fixed income, and then they panic and they sell out and they take half or whatever's left, and then they go away. Right? And then it was bad for everybody. So if you put your time in before your money, if you read the prospectus, if you get somebody involved that you trust. There are times when it's not the children and they can't be trusted, but for the most part, I find the children are a good source to have involved. Just because you and I may have a great investing relationship, you still want somebody else looking over for you. If there's a lot of trading going on or swapping around, there's something you can have called interested party statement. If you invest anywhere for free, it should be provided to you that they will send a copy of your statement to this person that you select. They have no trading authority on your account. They have no ability to withdraw money from your account. What they do is they see what activity has taken place in the previous month. So typically, and not to be gender specific, but sometimes if the gentleman handled all the investments for the family, and then he passes away, and all of a sudden the wife, the mom, is now in charge of handling something that she, other than the checkbook of the house, she's never been involved in. I immediately encourage it. Get somebody involved. I say, well, my kids don't know anything either. That's fine. They don't need to know anything. They just need to ask questions if something looks off, if it doesn't pass the smell test. How come mom has 5 different things bought and sold this month, and then last month she had 4? It's like if you go to the dentist and every time you go you have more cavities than when you left the last time. It's like, how do I have this many cavities? Well, you don't need to have a lot of trades either. If you build something correctly in a portfolio, barring a maturity or a call, there shouldn't be a lot of changes going on. I mean, I've yet to meet many people that are at this point in life where they're actively day trading. And if they are, I can tell you they're not doing it at a firm or full service firm because it's way too expensive. So we don't see that. What we see is portfolios that are set up to either produce income, to control taxes, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But once it's set up and once the time's in, you just let it run. You monitor it. Not a lot of changes. There shouldn't be going on.
Hello, I'm Jane Maloney, Director of the Ocean County Office of Senior Services. Ocean is home to about 160,000 senior citizens, and you're watching Ocean TV 20.